Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. We have a lot to discuss today. We need to take a look at what's happening with this XRP case. Will there be an appeal? An ex-SEC official seems to think so. We are also going to take a look at Binance. Now we've seen a huge amount of reports saying that there's a load of people getting laid off in Binance, and CZ, the CEO, has been saying this is not true. We also have Celsius dumping $23 million worth of altcoins, including BNB and including, what was the other one as well? Let's see what the other one was in this article. Let's see if we can find it. Can't find it. There was a big one. Here we go, Chainlink as well. That was the one I wanted to discuss. So we've got a huge amount of news to discuss today. Please don't forget, if you have not already, to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Let's check it with the price of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is currently sat at $30,150, down 0.5% within the last 24 hours. And Ethereum is up nicely to 1,908, down 1.17 in the last 24 hours. But overall, we have seen a nice increase to the upside. On the 7-day chart, we are up 2.38% for Ethereum there. So it has seen a nice move, and it's outperformed Bitcoin for the last week as well. Taking a look at what's happened with the altcoins within the last 24 hours, it hasn't been too good, but within the last week, it's been brilliant. I mean, Solana was enabled as a security by the SEC during their filings against Binance and Coinbase, and that's seen a nice recovery all the way up to 30%. We all know XRP is good, up 56% within the last week. We also have Natic up 12%. That was named in those filings too. So overall, altcoin holders seem to be pretty happy this week following this news about regulation, but we will get into that in more detail in just a second. So before we do, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Let's see what's going on with Ripple and XRP and this lawsuit here. That's what we want to talk about first today. Thank you very much for everybody who has joined in today's chat. Anthony has said the SEC probably won't appeal. Let's take a look at this article and see why they would appeal, and then let's talk about if they actually will or not. So first of all, we have seen XRP win this lawsuit against the SEC. Ripple, the creators and distributors of XRP, have been in a lawsuit against the SEC since December 2020. It's been a 3-year-long lawsuit. They've piled millions and millions of dollars into this to try and support themselves and prove that XRP is not a security. Now Ripple were fighting to say XRP is not a security in 4 situations. 1 was when selling to institutional investors. 2 was when buying XRP on a centralized exchange. 3rd was giving XRP to Ripple employees. And the 4th was sales from the SEC CEO, Brad Garlinghouse. Now, on 3 of those situations, it has been deemed that XRP is not a security, including the sale of XRP on centralized exchanges. The one account on which XRP has been decided that it's a security is for the sale to institutional investors, because it is believed that institutional investors are investing in XRP with the expectation that their funds are going to Ripple to help improve the network and improve the price of XRP and get profits from the Ripple creators' work, essentially. And that completes the Howey test, which determines whether an asset is a security or a commodity. So what we've seen here is the XRP came up on top on this kind of scenario here. XRP won 3 out of 4 scenarios. We can see here that JP Morgan analysts have described Ripple's SEC lawsuit win as a milestone win for the crypto industry and an event that provides legal clarity on what classifies as a security. So the main reason we've had this whole 3-year-long lawsuit is because we don't have clarity on whether digital assets are securities or commodities. We don't have a clear definition to understand the two and determine the two and separate the two, and that's a really big problem for the cryptocurrency space. Currently, we use the Howey test that was created in 1946, but it just cannot apply to digital assets, and we've seen this be proven here when the SEC are trying to determine whether assets are securities or not, and they can't even create the right conclusion themselves. If the courts are saying the SEC have been wrong determining that the XRP is a security, that proves that we need more clarity on the regulation and the framework to determine whether these assets are securities or not. Now, the XRP ruling provides legal clarity according to JP Morgan, and we have seen here that they have said the ruling is undoubtedly a milestone win for the industry. It provides legal clarity and defense around what does and does not constitute a security, and that overall outcome is in favor of what many in the industry have been arguing. Now, many people in the cryptocurrency space have been fighting for clarity on regulation for years now. Still not something we have gotten. We have seen regulation by enforcement within the last couple of weeks, but this is a massive step forwards. Ian says, a long time coming, XRP only crypto in USA with clarity. Yes, this is something that XRP have had to fight head on, and now they are actually way ahead of other cryptocurrency altcoins right now, because we've seen many different altcoins being labeled as a security in the filings from the SEC to Binance and Coinbase, and that has put them in muddy water essentially. It's not clear what's happening with those now. Now, with XRP winning this lawsuit, it's expected that it's setting a precedent for the rest of the cryptocurrency industry, and the SEC are going to struggle with those battles against Coinbase and Binance and against those cryptocurrency projects that they're deeming to be securities. But overall, right now, that's still unclear. We still have work to go there. Whereas with XRP, they have seen this massive step forwards within this lawsuit, and they've actually managed to come out on top of this. So they are the first one there that has been deemed to be not a security in the courts. So that's a massive improvement there for XRP, and congratulations to any XRP holders as well. Those of you that have been accumulating during that 3-year period, it's been a long old slog, but it has been a successful one, and we have seen the price rise very, very nicely as a result of this lawsuit coming to some sort of conclusion. There is still some time to go, but we are seeing steps in the right direction. Let's take a look at what the Ripple CEO is saying. So he hopes the ruling is the wake-up call Congress needs. So in a similar commentary about the court ruling that XRP is not a security, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse tweeted that the event could wake up Congress to enact necessary legislation that would provide regulatory clarity in the US, hoping yesterday's decision is the wake-up call that Congress needs. This ruling directly undercuts the SEC's claims that nearly all tokens are inherently securities, likely to set a positive precedent for other digital tokens in the US. And what else we have seen here is the SEC have been saying to Coinbase created a petition for the SEC to create clarity over whether digital assets were securities or commodities. And the SEC replied to that petition saying, we already have clarity. We already have framework here that can help you determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity. Now this has taken place, and the courts have said the SEC have got it wrong. This proves that the SEC's framework to determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity isn't clear. They can't even understand it themselves. So I think this is definitely going to drive the space forwards, because we are going to see, we can clearly see in plain sight that we need more clarity on regulation now, and nobody can fight against that because it's clear, it's obvious. So let's see what else is going on here. We have some more stories, articles on this story. So let's continue with the next one here. Ripple's court decision resides on shaky ground, according to the former SEC official here. So this is what we are discussing about earlier in today's stream. What we have seen is a massive win for Ripple, but does this stand? Are we going to see the SEC appeal to this decision? Now, as I said, Ripple won on 3 of 4 occasions. Now, they were fighting to say that XRP is not a security when it's being sold to institutions, when being sold on centralized exchanges, when being given to employees, and when being sold and transferred in negotiations by the CEO. Now, the courts have decided that XRP is not a security on 3 of those things. The one that they said it could be a security or is a security is when it's being sold to institutions over the counter. So Now we are seeing an ex-official from the SEC saying the SEC will probably appeal this decision. Now, taking a look at this article here, so the former SEC official John Reed Stark posted on LinkedIn that Ripple's court decision is troubling on multiple fronts and is not necessarily a cause for celebration. Now, Ripple's court ruling, he says, is based on three categories. So we've just been through that. The three categories it's been ruled is not a security, but this ex-official from the SEC says that the ruling is on shaky ground. So he said, it tends only to grant institutional investors complete SEC protection and all remedies that go along with SEC violations, leaving out retail investors. Stark further argued that Ripple's decision suggests tokens offered to investors through crypto exchanges are not securities based on the presumption that the investors know nothing about the crypto issuer. So what we can see here is Stark said the SEC may appeal the decision at some point, likely resulting in a reversal. So let's keep an eye on that. Let me show you what I've just been taking a look at here on this tweet from Jeremy Hogan. Somebody in the chat just mentioned this. Anthony's just put this in the chat. So I've just pulled up this thread, which I have read. So this is Jeremy Hogan, partner at Hogan & Hogan. Let's take a look at this. There's been a lot of questions about Ripple versus SEC appeals. Now, he has kindly pointed out for us within this that we have 10 days to notice an I don't even know how to say that word, appeal, and this is an appeal because the final judgment hasn't been decision. We haven't seen this lawsuit come to a complete end. It's not completely over. If we were to see an appeal now, it would be just based on this one decision. Now, not everybody is granted that opportunity, so they have 10 days to try and appeal this decision in court now, but if they are going to appeal it, it's probably going to be later down the line when the whole lawsuit is closed. Then they have 60 days to appeal the entire thing. But will they appeal this? I mean, from this guy's judgments, let's take a look at what he says at the end of this thread. He says here, Ripple probably won't appeal if it can pay the fine and if the ODL part of the ruling doesn't mess up its business. But in terms of the SEC appealing, the SEC has more to lose than gain by appealing. If it wins the appeal, it pulls back some adverse trial level case. But if it loses at the appellate level, now every court in the second DCA must follow the decision. They could literally turn a molehill into a mountain. And this is something I agree with here. I can just see the SEC looking at this lawsuit, losing the lawsuit, and then just pretending it didn't happen. I can see that happening very, very clearly there. But we will keep an eye on this. If they were to appeal this, we could see this going for a whole lot longer. I mean, it's been a 3-year lawsuit already. It's clear to me the key output that I'm taking from this lawsuit, whether you're an XRP fan or not, the key point that we can take from this is that the SEC can't even understand its own framework to determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity. So the key point we can see here is we need clarity on crypto, and this is just this is giving us more evidence to advocate for that. A lot of people in the cryptocurrency space have been saying, come on, we need clarity on regulation, and this is just giving us hard evidence that that needs to be provided for the space. So that is definitely a win for the cryptocurrency space, whether it gets appealed or not, whether things turn around or not. Even if the SEC appeal this and manage to come out on top in some way, shape or form, we have still seen that there's a lack of clarity around the framework there. So that's a massive step forward for the cryptocurrency space because we have that hard evidence to push forwards with. But let's continue with the next piece of news here and see what else is going on. So JP Morgan analysts believe that Ripple ruling could represent a win for Coinbase as well. Now, the SEC have filed a lawsuit against Coinbase in May or June this year it was. And we have seen here now that JP Morgan are believing the XRP's win is definitely a positive for Coinbase. Now, Coinbase have had a filing against them, and within that filing, the SEC listed multiple different assets as securities, multiple different altcoins, and calling them unregistered securities. Coinbase have said, we're not unlisting any of these tokens you've said, and they've now relisted XRP following this lawsuit amongst other centralized exchanges. Many of them have been doing the same. But we can see here that JP Morgan have been saying the ruling is a positive development for Coinbase in its ongoing legal battle with the US SEC, and JP Morgan analysts view Coinbase as being in the best position to benefit from the improved confidence and regulatory clarity the ruling may bring. So this positive outlook is primarily attributed to Coinbase's well-established market-leading position and respecting crypto industry reputation. So Coinbase is obviously one of those centralized exchanges that has a brilliant reputation, and we have now seen the SEC file a lawsuit against them. But I've seen many people speculate that when the SEC filed lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase, we all know that Binance's lawsuit and filings were much more in-depth and a lot worse, let's say, than the filing against Coinbase. So it could be that Coinbase managed to come out of this lawsuit on top. Binance still have loads of problems they need to face. Therefore, Coinbase lose that competition slightly. And then we've also seen Coinbase partnering with the companies of the likes of BlackRock in terms of their spot Bitcoin ETFs. So we have seen Coinbase, throughout all of this regulatory uncertainty, throughout its filings from the SEC, it's managed to somehow, it looks like it's going to end up on top. So we are keeping an eye on this. We've seen the price of Coinbase soar within the last couple of weeks as well. So earlier in the week, Ripple partially won when a federal judge ruled the XRP token is not considered a security. So we can see here the significance of this application lies in its potential to make it more challenging for the SEC to demonstrate that these 13 tokens in the filings against Coinbase are securities and that Coinbase itself is an unregistered securities exchange. So that's the accusation we have against Coinbase right now within these filings. It's that it's an unregistered securities exchange and it's offering unregistered securities, and they've named multiple tokens there. So this scenario could excuse Coinbase from future licensing and regulatory requirements, reducing its exposure to legal risks and uncertainties. So adding to the uncertainty, the SEC can appeal the Ripple decision. We have just discussed that, but right now, what we are saying here is Coinbase is not entirely out of legal jeopardy just yet, but we could see a huge change, a huge shift in the cryptocurrency space right now. So this is something we definitely need to keep an eye on. The cryptocurrency space is heated up within the last week. It's got a lot more exciting right now. Is the bull market over? That's the question on everyone's lips right now. Let me know what you think about that question. And before we get on to the next piece of news, let's talk about the price of Bitcoin quickly. So Bitcoin dips after a huge move, but the uptrend remains intact. So XRP won that lawsuit. The price of Bitcoin absolutely soared. If we take a look at the 4-hour chart here, you can see it had a massive move to the upside. We broke through all of those levels of resistance we've been taking a look at, and then it came back down again. Now, this is pretty typical when we see news like this. When we see massive news, for example, when Tesla said they were going to accept Bitcoin as a means of payment, the price of Bitcoin did this exact same thing. We saw a massive green candle, a little bit of sideways action, and then a retracement back to its previous level. We see that over and over again when we see positive news about the space and we see broken levels of resistance. It's not typical that they do hold, I would say. Sometimes they do. Sometimes we just see a huge move to the upside and the price of Bitcoin rips through all of those levels of resistances. But in scenarios like this where it's news-based, I find it pretty typical that we do see that retracement shortly after. Now, obviously, XRP has held its new price pretty nicely. We can take a look at that in just a second. Bringing up back to the question, is the bull market beginning? Is the bear market over? I would like to pull us up the MACD on the monthly chart here. Now, I would like to say every single time in history, if you go to a chart that dates back further than this, the MACD has turned bullish on the monthly chart, has been an indicator that the bear market is over, the bottom is in, and the bull market is beginning. Now, we don't yet have a green candle, a green bar on this MACD. This is the July bar so far. It is still forming. If we did see a really red candle this month, we could see this turn red. But right now, it's looking like it's going to be green. So by the end of this month, we're going to know whether we should feel confident in that decision or not. But I'm keeping a very close eye on that indicator. Obviously, you should not just rely on one indicator. Historically, it's been 100% accurate. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news before we continue with today's stream, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. First of all, we have Larry Fink has said crypto can transcend any currency. So this is the CEO of BlackRock, the one that in 2017 said that Bitcoin is an index of money laundering. Now, obviously, we all know he's changed his tune since then. He has said that Bitcoin is a international asset, and he has now said it can transcend any currency. And we have seen BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world, filing for a spot Bitcoin ETF. And we've also seen that ETF actually be acknowledged by the SEC. So let's see if we've got an article on that. We've pulled this up here. Let's see if we've got one in today's video. Here we go. The SEC acknowledges BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF application and starts official review process. Now, this isn't the only BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF that has been acknowledged. We've also seen WisdomTree, Invesco, and Van Eck have their spot Bitcoin ETFs acknowledged as well. So if you go onto the SEC website, you can see these filings are being looked at right now and being reviewed. Now, we already knew they were being reviewed because we have seen a couple of them being knocked back and asked for more clarity. But now they've given that clarity, they've all refiled and they're waiting for the SEC's judgment. Now, according to the information on the SEC's official website, which I can pull up here so you can all see, so you can see within these filings somewhere, we have a spot. Let's see if we can search it. BlackRock, see if anything comes up. It's in this somewhere, in this huge list. Here we go. Notice it's commodity based. No, this isn't the one we're looking for. Anyway, it's in there somewhere. It's on this page and it shows that there has been filings for spot Bitcoin ETFs. So according to this information on the SEC's official website, the filing is now open to comments from the public, and the agency encouraged the public to submit their comments as they would be due 21 days after the publication of the filing of the Federal Register. The SEC's acknowledgement of these spot Bitcoin ETFs signal that the official review process of the proposal has started, and while the application still has a long way to go, the development indicates that the regulatory agency is willing to evaluate the potential market effects of the investment product. Now, we did see them first apply for this spot Bitcoin ETF on the 16th of June, disclosing that it intended to launch the product on the NASDAQ, and the SEC's acknowledgement of the application comes less than 2 weeks after they resubmitted the paperwork following a rejection from the SEC over what was that over? It was over, well, I know what it was over, I can't find it in the words though, it was over the clarity of where they were going to get the Bitcoin price from, and now they've partnered with Coinbase and said that Coinbase is going to be their surveillance partner. So we have seen massive improvements here, and now they have been acknowledging it as well. So very exciting news to come here. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency space. But before we do, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. DC says, I love Aussie accent, but my accent isn't Australian. I'm from the UK. Let's see what else is going on here. Please don't forget to join in the chat as well. I like it when the chat's popping off. Ask some questions in the chat and I'll try and answer them at the end of today's stream. Let's see what's going on with Ethereum here. So Ethereum could go as high as $3,000 before a pullback, according to this crypto analyst. So we've seen the price of Ethereum move very nicely off the back of this news as well. The whole market has performed nicely here following this news. We have seen a little bit of a retracement, but we did actually break that $2,000 level for Bitcoin with a high for Ethereum. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up here. With a high of 2,030. So you can see we are still in an uptrend. We are seeing higher highs and higher lows here, and we can see the same for Bitcoin. The trends have not yet broke. Bitcoin is still within that $2,000 range. It just will not get out. We've been between 29,500 to 31,500 for the last 3 weeks. We got into this range on the 21st of June, and we have not broken that range. I mean, we did slightly off the XRP news, but we're straight back in it again. We need some volatility, and I know we had that last week, but we just want to see a breakout now. Bitcoin's been sideways action for too long. Let's see what else is going on in the news here. So US watchdogs oppose draft bill on crypto regulation. So the entities insisted that Congress should instead support regulators' ongoing efforts to enforce existing rules that provide the foundation for investor protection. So A coalition of the 21 United States watchdogs and organizations have jointly opposed a new draft bill on crypto asset regulation proposed by lawmakers at the House Committee on Financial Services and House Committee on Agriculture. So this is a letter addressed to the chairs and ranking members of the committee on the 11th of July, prior to that Ripple XRP win here. And we can see the US watchdogs have opposed a crypto draft bill. So we can see here they are yet concentrated lobbying efforts in the crypto industry have led to the committee to submit the draft proposal in the name of crypto innovation. At the same time, the assets in question still struggle to show viable use cases except for speculative investment. And after 14 years, crypto still struggles to demonstrate viable use cases outside of speculative investment. While other tech has proven its usefulness many times over, crypto's big moment is always just over the horizon. So very negative views there from Watchdog. I would say that cryptocurrency technology and blockchain technology has disrupted many different industries. We've seen it disrupt the music industry massively. Let's see what else they're saying here. So support for ongoing enforcement actions. Expressing their concern about the bill, the organisation outlined a set of issues believed the crucial problems that would arise if the bill was enacted, and that is ongoing enforcement actions there. So the entities insisted that Congress should instead support regulators' ongoing efforts to enforce existing rules that provide the foundation for investor protection. Let's see how this changes now. Ripple and XRP have seen that massive win in court, because that does set a precedent for the rest of the cryptocurrency space and shows that we don't have clarity for the crypto industry. Let's see what else is going on. James says, when are you back on Around the Blockchain? I'm back on Around the Blockchain show tomorrow. Tomorrow 10 p.m. BST time, that is. So make sure to check that out. I like going on that show. It's good fun. Let's see what's going on here. Don't forget already, if you haven't, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Also, if you are following along on Twitter, make sure to come over to YouTube, the better platform. Give us a like, subscribe. We are currently on 3,500 subscribers. Let's see what we're on today's stream. 3,471. Let's try and get to 3,500 by the end of the week. Share the stream with your friends everywhere. Make sure they like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button. It would really help us here on the show. Let's see what else is going on in the crypto news though. So Coinbase temporarily halts staking services in 4 US states. Now Coinbase's users in other states remain unaffected, but the assets that were staked before the orders were issued in the affected states. So what we've seen here is the SEC have come after many different centralized exchanges because of their staking services, saying they are offering securities. Now a lot of people look at the way that, let's explain this from the beginning. When we have a security, it's regulated by the SEC. When we have a commodity, it's regulated by the CFTC. To determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity, we need to do the Howey test. Now, this is a set of 4 conditions. If these 4 conditions are true, the asset is a security. Now, we have seen that things can change from commodities to securities and from securities to commodities. And we have also seen in this Ripple XRP case that we can have an asset like XRP, which can be sold to institutions and be determined to be a sale of a security in that transaction, but then be sold on centralized exchanges to retail investors like you and me and be determined to be not a security for that transaction. Now, what we are seeing is Coinbase and other centralized exchanges like Gemini are having issues with their staking platforms because it's being speculated that potentially staking on centralized exchanges, where you just deposit your funds into a centralized exchange and leave the centralized exchange to do all the work and provide you with tokens and interest, that could be deemed as security sale, because what's happening there is you're depositing your funds and Coinbase or the centralized exchange is doing all of the effort in order to generate that interest for you, and that meets one of the situations in the Howey test, one of the 4 conditions in the Howey test. So that's a concern there. I mean, it's not the end of the world if staking isn't appropriate for centralized exchanges to conduct. We have the blockchain, we can stake on our own, but what we can see here is that the SEC filed a lawsuit against Coinbase on the 6th of June, accusing the firm of operating as an unregistered securities exchange, clearinghouse and broker. On the same day, state securities regulators in 10 states brought charges against Coinbase, alleging that the exchange's retail staking services are securities under state law. And that is something that we've not just seen for Coinbase, we've seen for other centralized exchanges as well. So Coinbase is disappointed in regulators' actions as expected. Coinbase have been advocating for cryptocurrency regulation and clarity around that regulation for years now. Coinbase have actually said on this matter, nothing about Coinbase's staking services is an investment at all. Rather, staking is a core part of ensuring that the crypto economy functions for hundreds of millions of users around the globe. Staking services are just one part of Coinbase's existing business, but because staking is so fundamental to the crypto industry, Coinbase is committed to protecting access to staking for everyone. So what they're saying is, yes, it is through the effort of others, but is it an investment in the first place? As long as one of those 4 prongs for the Howey test are not met, that makes the transaction no longer a security. So that's what they're looking for there, but we are going to see many teething problems. As I would always like to point out, this is a new space. The cryptocurrency industry is new, and when we are new into any industry, we are going to see teething problems with growth and with regulation. That is perfectly normal, and through these times it's going to be very, very volatile, but that's what you get for being in the industry early, and that volatility is what a lot of us look for. Let's see what else is going on in the crypto news. Before you do, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's move on from the XRP case now and see what else is going on. So let's pull up the crypto news tab. So how Polkadot 2.0 will realize the full potential of the Polkadot global supercomputer. So the proposed changes to Polkadot are intended to bring the ecosystem closer to the original vision of a fully interoperable network in the form of Polkadot 2.0. So if you are a Polkadot fan, make sure to check out this article. I will drop it in today's live chat over on YouTube. If you are following along on Twitter, make sure to come over to YouTube and give us a like and give us a follow. So what we can see here is the co-founder of Polkadot, Gavin Wood, appeared at Polkadot Decoded 2023 to reveal his long-term plans for Polkadot 2.0. And what we can see here is we've seen, we all know what Polkadot is. It's a network that's meant to provide interoperability for different blockchains. What we can see here is at a fundamental level, the global Polkadot network acts like a supercomputer with approximately 50 cores upon which parachains operate. The network of cores, which function in parallel to maintain the ecosystem, is expected to expand to 500 to 100 cores and become faster and more powerful as the network is optimized. So Polkadot 2.0. So this is a solution proposed by Gavin and is to run more flexible core time rental systems. If you are interested in all that, make sure to take a look. I'm going to have to take a full read through that at the end of today's stream and see what else is going on there. But let's move on now to Celsius. Celsius is one of those companies that did not make it through the turbulent times of crypto in 2022. We have seen the founder of Celsius being charged with fraud last week, and we are now seeing them dump $24 million worth of altcoins. Those altcoins being Chainlink, SNX, BNB, 1inch, ZRX, and FTX token as well. So we have seen a massive dump there, and we are going to see that. Now the wallet, let's see this, the token sales come less than 2 weeks after Celsius moved most of its altcoins to a new wallet, reportedly identified as Celsius Network OTC, and the bankruptcy judge of the Southern District of New York approved the move to facilitate distribution to the company's creditors. So what we can see here is the company deposited roughly $235,000 worth of Shiba Inu's bone to OKX, according to Look On Chain. And we can also see that the judge has said Celsius may sell or convert any non-BTC and non-ETH cryptocurrency, crypto tokens, or other cryptocurrency assets other than such tokens that are associated with withhold or custody accounts to Bitcoin or ETH commencing on or after July the 1st, 2023. So Celsius held roughly $164.5 million worth of altcoins on the EVM chain per Look On Chain on the 6th of July, so just 11 days ago. And behind the what we've seen here is they are now going to sell these tokens. What you can expect here, I imagine, is the fear of selling these tokens is going to cause a dump in the markets. Would actually just dumping these tokens onto the markets cause an effect? Probably not that much. It probably would have been minimal, but because a lot of people know that these tokens are being sold, we will see some selling pressure off the back of that. So make sure to keep an eye on that. Chainlink is something that I want to accumulate more of, so let's take a look at this. While we're here, let's see what Chainlink is doing right now. So let's take a look on this chart here. It has seen a little bit of a dip, so we did come down to $6.45. It's now at $6.65. This is a project that I've believed in long term, and a project that I would like to accumulate more of here at these prices. Obviously, nothing is financial advice. Don't invest in something just because I'd like to invest in something. If we take a look at the daily chart here, in the previous bull market, we saw a high of, in the bull market, it kind of had calmed down again, hadn't it? In the high of 2021, May 2021, the first peak for Bitcoin, we saw a high of $53, and it's now down at $6.60 there. So we have seen massive fluctuations there. I'm keeping a close eye on this one. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news. I think I need to stop talking about my own portfolio. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Binance completes integration of Bitcoin Lightning Network. Now, we did also see this morning, if we take a look at CZ's Twitter, he has said there was a bit of a blip this morning in which there was a 10-minute issue of which with the withdrawal system was down, but he said it's all fixed now and there's no need for FUD. Undoubtedly, we probably will see some FUD. The newspapers and the media love to spread FUD about Binance right now. What we can see here is Binance completes integration of Bitcoin Lightning Network, and we've also seen that these reports that Binance lay off 1,000 workers. This report was alleged by Wall Street Journal. We've seen that Binance CEO CZ has said this is way off, it's false, and we keep seeing this in the news. We keep seeing the news say Binance is laying off all of these people, and CZ and Binance just saying, this is just the normal company flowing as it does. We employ people and people leave. It's completely normal. Whether it is normal for them or not, that's another question. That's the news that CZ is trying to spread anyway. So let's continue now. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin in a little bit more detail, and then we should shut off today's stream. How long have we been on today's stream for? 45 minutes. Please don't forget, if you have not already, to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. I need to jump off this in just a second and go to a team meeting. So let's go through the price of Bitcoin now and see what's going on here. On the 4-hour chart, you can see we are within that $2,000 range again, between that $29,500 level and the $31,500 level. We have seen a retracement, as I just said. This is the similar kind of price action to when we saw Tesla accepting Bitcoin. It was like, brilliant news, there's all hype in the market, and then we retrace back to the levels we were before. I'm talking about what happened back in 2021, I think. But now we are still back in this range. We need to look at this range once again. You can see we have a zone of support here. We don't have to just look at that lower level. So I would definitely say this $30,100 level is a point of support right now. You can see we've used it as a support here and again after that massive dump there, and we've wicked it as well. So I'm looking at that level as a level of support, hoping that holds, fingers crossed. If it does not, then I'll be looking at the $29,800 level. But if it does hold, then we'll be looking up at this zone of resistance once again. I feel like we've been a stuck record in the last couple of weeks because the price of Bitcoin just has not moved. We're looking at the $30,680 level to the $30,780 level. Let's keep an eye on that and see what happens. Let's take a look quickly at the CME chart as well and see what's going on here. So the CME is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. If we take a look at the 1-hour chart here, so let's see, this is this weekend. We have, let's see where we've got the weekend from, Sunday, and then we have Friday. So Friday, here we go. Here's the candles. Here's the gap. I can see the gap here. The gap was closed almost immediately. So there's the first candle of the week, second hour of the week. of closed the CME gap. And this is something I would really like to point out. There are people out there that just trade the CME gap. If the CME gap is below the price when the markets reopen, they short, and if it's higher, they enter a long position. And here we've seen it again. The probability of a CME gap closing within the couple of days after it being created is pretty likely, and especially when it's such a small gap like we saw this weekend. So that's definitely something that I would recommend you to keep an eye on and see what you think of that and calculate it for yourself. Obviously take into account multiple different factors, but that is all we have for today's stream. So thank you very much for tuning in. As always, I hope you have enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. I've got to go to another meeting now. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all back here tomorrow at